There's a lot of energy that's ready to move in this group. So I am drinking cacao, which can cause that. But if you hear my mouth shaking or my teeth chattering, or I release a lot during these calls. So forgive me ahead of time as well. But again, I hope that you have made some energetic space as we have. I've got my healers here who will be doing energy work on the whole group as we're doing the shamanic activation. But before we get into that, I want to go into some knowledge. So, really, the basis of this class is my own experience with plant medicine and how I got to this point and why I want to bring it to you all in this way and why I'm so called to revolutionize or modernize the medicine experience for the world as well, to create accessibility so that you all feel more comfortable coming into the shamanic medicine space, so that there are bridges. I'm all about building bridges and creating pillars for people to use in their own process that are based on my own processes. I've been through many beautiful experiences in my healing journey. I've also been through some very dark and unnecessary or even challenging experiences that are avoidable with knowledge and guidance and awareness. So that's what I really hope to bring in for you today is more awareness, more knowledge, and also more feeling safe around doing this work. This work is life changing, and I hate even calling it work. This path is life changing and it is not for everyone. So if you've been called into the shamanic medicine space, even just shamanism, working with cacao, cacao may not be a traditional psychedelic, but it is a powerful plant medicine. And if you find yourself feeling very connected to animals and plants, feeling very connected to ancient practices and old wisdom, indigenous cultures and the way they gather around a fire and dance and call in spirits, if those things have ever interested you or have shown up for you, there's a reason. And in our modern world, there's a lot of blocks right now in the plant medicine world. Not only do the powers that be not want you to work with plant medicine, which is why so many of them are illegal, now you've got in the medicine world all kinds of BS going on. So all kinds of shamans gone wild, as we call them, and people just doing whatever they want, dark practices happening in the medicine world. And I want to be open and upfront about all of that and talk about that today so that you understand that we here at the Medicine Alchemist understand that navigating your healing journey is already difficult and can be very turbulent because it's trauma and triggers and subconscious programming and ego work and shadow work, and there's a lot to it. And medicine can really accelerate that process. But where did the medicine come from? Who is this person holding the medicine? Have they done their due diligence in knowing where the medicine came from, or did they grow it themselves? How many hands have touched this medicine? We don't think about these things when we go into the space. We see a retreat and we go, I want to go to that. It's a yes for me. I want you to trust your yes if it's in your body that way. But I also want you going forward, whether it's working with us or working with anyone in the future when it comes to medicine or microdosing or psychedelic integration, that there are ways to go about this work. And there are magical new modern ways to work with medicine as well that I want to share with you. So, by the end of the call, we're going to announce a lucky winner. One of you will win a bottle of Microdose, which is our line of 5 microdosing blends. And whoever the winner is, you'll get a free 15-minute pre-journey session. It's like a discovery call where you'll learn about microdosing a little bit deeper and also decide which blend is right for you. So we'll announce that at the end. And Drew, I am trusting in you to have all the names ready to go, and have them drawn. I only have so many hands. I didn't incarnate as an octopus in this lifetime, so thank you, Drew. Let's give it up for her. And also, I have a special prize that I'm going to give you all at the end, and it's for everyone. So I want you to stay tuned. Now, I talked a little bit about why I'm doing this, but I'm really hosting this masterclass to create awareness, but I really want to educate you. I want you to be aware of all the different medicines that are available to you in the world, what plant spirit medicine work is all about, because a lot of you are Lemurian and Atlantean star seeds. You come from other planets that don't exist in this duality, and those planets exist in harmony with their nature. And we have forgotten in this lifetime not only our connection with plant spirits, but with animals as well. The whole shamanic experience is the most human experience you can have. It connects you to plants, spirits, mushrooms, animals, all the things that really encompass who we are here on this planet. It activates all of those within you. So we're going to be talking about shamanism, but what plant spirits are and working with plant spirits, because you can work with these plants without consuming the medicine. That's also what I want to support here. Yes, we would love for you to come and join us at a retreat, but actually, I'm more focused on you healing without as many outside influences as possible. When you're called to the medicine, you're called to it, and you must answer. It will come at some point. And so there's also a certain process you go through in this work. There's reciprocity. There, what are you giving back to the land that you're journeying on? What are you giving back to the people who grew the medicine you're working with? All of these things I want to bring into the space. So we're going to talk about shamanic plant spirits, medicine alchemy, which medicine alchemy is a form of medicine or a system of medicine that I have created that I want to share with you all, and to give you an idea of where the medicine world is going next and how you can use this in your own practice to heal yourself and in various alchemical ways. We're also going to talk about microdosing and shamanic journeying and what all of that is about, because I have had a lot of clients come to my retreats who've never microdosed, never worked with medicine before, never went on a shamanic journey, never did a meditation. It's rare, but I've had a couple clients who were just completely new. They had an awakening. They saw my retreat. They decided to come. They had never gone to a yoga class even. So gathering in a circle and yelling and crying and laughing and sharing and being so open was weird for them, even though they wanted it. They were not raised in a tribe like that with shamans around them and certain rituals and ceremonies that they participated in. And so I really want also to demystify a lot of this process for you so that when you go into your medicine work, all of that stuff that you figure out at the beginning that can sometimes get in the way of your real healing and journey, like shamanic journeying is an art form. So sometimes I tell people when they're at my first retreat with me, your first or second night may be all about learning how to journey, how to trust a plant spirit and how it's going to lead you through yourself and how to access your higher self. If it's new to you, then it may not come naturally. So I know I've introduced myself a little bit, but I just want to talk about my journey and how I got here. So I've been doing this for a long time. I started in the medicine world about 13 years ago. I'm 33, and it was when I was 20 years old. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, and there's an ayahuasca or a Native American church that holds ayahuasca ceremonies in Kentucky. And there's even a documentary about the man who does this. I think it's called Kentucky Ayahuasca or Kentucky Shaman or something like that. But that's who I found when I was 20 years old, and that's when I began my medicine work. And when I was a small kid and growing up, I was very abused by my father. I was raised in a house of three brothers, and I was the only one who struggled with my gender and dressing up in my mom's clothes, and I just didn't fit in. Whether it's starseed, manifester in human design, uh, just being a light worker, being a Chiron archetype. I triggered my family very badly from the time I was very little. So all of that laid the groundwork for where I was going to go. I mean, I was a musician, I was an actor my whole life. I went to a performing arts high school. And I find that a lot of shamans now were once actors and performers because shamans are, or shamanic practitioners even, shamans, healers, mystics use their body, their voice, and their instrument has to be finely tuned. So there was something leading the way the entire time. I was even a plant-based health coach. I've always been into plants and plant extracts and plant skincare, and I worked for several companies doing health coaching and became a vegan and been vegan for 10 years. And all of this was leading somewhere. I remember when people would tell me back in the day, you should be an astrologer, you should be a spiritual teacher. And I would think, maybe one day I'll do that on the side. I used to teach astrology on the side, teach psychic work when I was in my early 20s. But it was the fun thing I did. I didn't realize it was going to become my work. And then in 2016, I started to host psilocybin journeys in my apartment. When I was 25 years old, I would have these, and this is a picture from 2016, when I would have friends come and I would have a soundscape. I knew where the medicine was coming from. It was never supposed to be a party. It was a spiritual experience. We were channeling things. I was bringing through stuff. Light language was happening even before I knew what that was. And so if you had told me then that I would be doing this full time, I would laugh. But I also would have felt like, wow, what a dream that would be, is what I thought. And so again, like when I took this picture, it was just supposed to be fun. I just thought, wow, we're doing something magical and connecting with these sacred fungi. I just thought it was just brilliant, and it was just something I wanted to share with my friends, and that was really it. I wanted to activate in myself. And then about a year after I started doing this, I went through a Kundalini awakening, and that rocked my whole world and changed my whole life. And I didn't sleep for 21 days, and this picture was taken just a couple weeks before my Kundalini awakening, and I was working the corporate job, doing the thing, uh, climbing the corporate ladders, getting the promotions, all of that stuff. And it was taking its toll on me. I was going through constant burnout. I struggled with depression and anxiety for many years and didn't know what it was that I was dealing with. I was a highly sensitive person, but didn't know there was a term for that. Didn't really accept I was an empath until this woman saved my life during my Kundalini awakening, named Penny Sisto. I mean, what she did on me, and she is a shaman, even though she probably wouldn't call herself that, what she did on me and how I was able to sleep for the first time in 21 days that night, I knew that doctors and the traditional path and other methods were not for me. Whatever she did and whatever these plants did to cause this awakening were the path that I was meant to go on, but I didn't really know where that was leading anyway. So in the past 5 years, I've hosted countless retreats, so many cacao ceremonies. I have incredible people in my community. I now am training people to become shamanic medicine alchemists and hold retreats and ceremonies themselves. I have 3 different sectors of my business. Needless to say, my point is this medicine work or play or experience works. It is so powerful in the ability that it has to rewire your neural pathways down to a DNA level. You release genetic traumas and wounds that are keeping even your abundance and finances in lower states, lower self-worth. I cleared so much out to get to where I am now, and I attribute so much of that to plant medicine. I healed my body shame issues in one night working with medicine 4 years ago. It was one night. I It's not always that way, but there are times where something is just so ready to go, it can clear out in one medicine journey and not affect you for the rest of your life. I can't not tell you all about this. So, um, and also for those of you who are entering my space and are new to me, and even those who have been around a while, my business has split up into 3 parts. So the Medicine Alchemist is where we do all of our retreats, shamanic healing, microdosing. I also help spiritual entrepreneurs with their websites and to help them build brands. I'm very passionate about helping light workers do this full time like I'm doing, so that we've got an entire planet full of light workers and mystics who are not drained by the 3D matrix 9 to 5 soul sucking program. And it would be so fulfilling to me to be a part of that process. So that's also some of the work that I do. And of course, astrology is one of my favorite things in the whole world. So we have a website called Ascended Astrology. I encourage you to check all of these things out. Um, but the Medicine Alchemist was really born out of some negative experiences that I had with medicine. And I have developed Apothecare, which is a system of 13 different medicines that all work in energetically together, but many of them mix together in different ways to create these alchemical, customized medicine experiences for clients. And then, of course, there's Microdose, which are the 5 microdosing blends. These are the ways in which I can get the medicine to people. And I want to talk just a little bit more about my experience in the medicine world. So many years, I would say 3 or 4 years after my initial beginning with psilocybin, and I've been hosting journeys, I've had an awakening, I started working with a medicine group that held many different medicines. And although ayahuasca herself told me it was a cult, I didn't stop going to these retreats because I didn't trust the whole experience yet fully. And come to find out, there was some negative things happening in that group. So I stepped away and had been training with shamans and mentors already, and had already access to other medicines that were much more high quality and in its integrity. And I went another route. But I noticed that I had a lot of negative experiences in the medicine world. And I also noticed that someone would drink a cup of cacao, or excuse me, a cup of ayahuasca, and I would drink the same cup. I would blast off into the galaxy and they would feel nothing. And I thought, that's so strange. And I understand that the plant spirits have a mind of their own and they do what they're going to do based on how ready you are for it and the agreement you're making with it energetically. But I noticed that not everyone was ready for ayahuasca. Not everyone sitting around me was at the same point in their journey. And so I thought, could we all go on this journey together tonight, but work with different medicines? Maybe this person over here is ready to open their heart. They're not ready to fly into the DMT experience that ayahuasca holds. They're not ready to merge with their higher self and become one with everything for a little while. I think they need to work through some stuff down here and some foundation pieces. So there are different medicines that I found in my own process over the last 13 years that did different things, or some of them even came to me and presented themselves to me. And it started to become this system of medicine. And I didn't really know where it was going, but I want you to know that apothecary and medicine alchemy was born out of negative experiences, but the desire to create medicine experiences that are perfect for people who live in the modern world and the Western world today, to get their feet wet and to meet everyone where they are. So, what is plant spirit medicine? So, plant spirit medicine is a form of spiritual healing rooted in ancestral traditions that combines classical shamanic wisdom with indigenous practices of calling upon plant spirits to heal. That's an important part, is the calling upon. Um, Not once did it say they're consuming plant medicines. Okay. I really want to reiterate that you can work with all of these medicine spirits, ayahuasca, wachuma, by calling in their spirit. When you drink the brew or consume the medicine physically, you create an energetic contract with them that cannot be broken for the rest of your life. That is true. But some of you have had other lives where you've been ayahuasca shamans, where you've worked with ayahuasca in other lives, or wachuma or psilocybin. So there's actually a remembrance coming online. You're being called to this work because you've done it before, or the plant spirit has a contract with you in this lifetime. Plant spirit medicine recognizes that, like humans, plants have spirit. And that sounds really woo-woo, but when you work with these more advanced plant spirit medicines that are more psychedelic or much more intense on the healing side or spirit side, you know that they've got a mind of their own, a personality of their own, and there is an entity there that lives within that plant essence. And their spirit has the unique capacity to touch and heal the spirit of a human being, restoring us to our own essential nature. I want you to remember, before we go any further, these plants, every single one of them, except for psilocybin, because psilocybin is not a plant, it is a fungus, but it also comes from another planet. They all existed on this planet long before the false matrix, long before the descent into 3D and the duality that we currently live in. So they hold the remembrance codes for the true earth, or the new earth that we call Tara, that we're trying to move back into, this awakening that we're on. These plant medicines have specifically contracted to be a part of our awakening and our ascension. So I love this quote from Eric Cowan's book, Plant Spirit Medicine. I've got to move you all down here. In recent times, our culture has basically looked to plants as healing agents in terms of their chemical properties. And this is where I'm going to ask you to step out of being a modern day human and come into your more indigenous, tribal, human, ancient self that understands the essence inside of something. And yes, there are chemicals in all of these plant medicines, chemical compounds like psilocybin that do something. But those chemical compounds are actually a physical expression of the energy signature of the plant. So I want you to know what you're working with is an entity and a vibrational essence, not a chemical compound when you work with these medicines. That is a relatively recent development in the history of humanity. In previous times, when people turned to plants as agents of healing, they were not primarily concerned with chemical constituents, but rather they saw plants as living beings. And that's what I'm going to ask you to do today, as highly aware, having feelings, and as well disposed to helping people. It was that living awareness and good disposition to help people that people turned to plants as the primary source for the element of healing potentials. I want you to know that the ayahuasca shamans of thousands of years past, Maria Sabina, the godmother of magic mushrooms or psilocybin mushrooms, these plants called out to them and told them to bring them to the world stage, to bring them to the ceremony space. And so while I may be Caucasian, and I may not have been raised in a tribe in Peru for 30 years. Some of us do contain shamanic archetypes or codes within us. So I'm passing a permission slip to you. If shaman or shamanic practitioner feels correct for you, that it is okay that you haven't spent 30 or 40 years training to do this, because you've probably done it in other lives, but also it's just sometimes in us, it's in our archetype. And so there's there's a program happening right now in the shamanic medicine world where there's a lot of people afraid to step into the work because of what people will say, and I've dealt with a lot of that. You can't do this work, you're white. You can't do this work, you're this. You can't do this work, you're young. I've heard it all, actually. And my intention is just to help people with what helped me. And also, I've been obsessed with drums and feathers and Native American culture and Celtic shamanism and witches and all of the things that go into a shamanic archetype. I have been interested in since I was a little tiny person. So I want you to pay attention to also, what have my interests been in this life? Have I always been really connected to plants and animals and these other tribal cultures that had drums, even the Celts? Do I have connections to that? And is that trying to show up for me in this lifetime? Now, I would love to get your spirit fingers activated here. And I want you to put in the chat box. And I'm going to see if I can pull the chat up so I can watch it. What do you consider to be a plant spirit medicine? So I'd love for you to put one or a few things in the chat box that you consider to be a plant spirit medicine. And preferably something other than psilocybin and ayahuasca and cacao, but those count as well. But what do you consider to be a plant spirit medicine? Brittany says blue lotus. I love it. Well, it looks like Auntie Lotus is trying to make an appearance, as she usually does. Um, so we've got two blue lotus, sassafras. Yes. Wachuma. We've got a lot of people in here who are obviously very connected to me. Someone says cannabis. Yes, cannabis is absolutely a plant spirit medicine. Mama Cacao. I'm loving it. I feel like everyone's looking for the answers that they know I want to hear, but this is sort of a trick question. So, so Cindy says, I don't have much experience in plant medicine. Nina says coffee. That's correct. Coffee can be a drug, but also the coffee bean is a plant spirit medicine. Hape, Benjamin says. Love that. We're going to welcome Hape into the space. Yerba mate, absolutely. What my point is here, and what we're starting to see, is a lot of you mentioned traditional healing shamanic medicines, Hape, cacao, Wachuma. Patty says plants are medicine. That's sort of the answer I was looking for. I want you all to understand that lettuce and tomato have a spirit essence. They are doing something for you. There is a medicine in that food. Some of these plants are more food, the fruit that comes from these plants, but others have medicine in their roots and their vines and their stalk and their flowers. Christina says cilantro. Yes, cilantro cleans your blood, detoxifies your body of heavy metals, and there is a plant spirit essence there. However, some of these plant spirits do present themselves a little bit more with an avatar that you can recognize. Like psilocybin tends to show up very geometric and very alien-like because these mushrooms are from another planet. Brittany says plant consciousness as well. Absolutely. All of you are correct around that. I want you to start seeing all plants as having plant spirit in them, but also all plants are medicine in some way. Even plant poisons like flower poisons, belladonna, there's medicine in the way it can shift your vibration, and to start seeing all plants that way. According to many spiritual schools of thought, all things contain a spirit and all matter vibrates, but plants hold within their physical and energetic makeup a desire to connect, grow, and regenerate. We see that by the way they behave in nature. So they are that way with us as well. When I lived in a retreat center outside of Atlanta for 2 years, I would drum around the property before private ceremonies and in my own meditation practice. And I was making flowers, not me making, but the vibration of the drum and my feet on the ground and talking to the trees. All of these very rare mushrooms, including lion's mane, started to grow on my property in flowers that weren't there before because they are in connection to something that wants to connect with them. All of you know that your house plants will survive and grow longer if you talk to them and treat them like pets and people. You know that. So I want you to apply that same feeling into this work as well. And energetic make up a desire to connect, grow, and regenerate, just as we do, thus giving them a level of intelligence that imbues them with an intrinsic spirit nature. Any plant found in nature that contains phytonutrients, which means plant nutrients, and brings your system into a state of homeostasis or balance can be considered a plant spirit medicine. That includes cilantro and yerba mate. So I want to talk a little bit about history before we go further. And we're also going to talk about shamanism because that word is a hot topic right now in the world, and who can use that word, who can call themselves a shaman, and what that actually is. The word shaman comes from Siberia. The Siberian shamans are similar to Native American shamans and Peruvian shamans in their practices, but it is different. And that word technically comes from them. So if a Native American calls themselves a shaman, Shaman, or if a Celtic person calls themselves a shaman, we all tend to just agree that that's okay because it's all taken from Siberia. But the word shaman is tricky because there are people who have lived for 50 to 60 years with their tribe, with elders, doing nothing but harvesting plants, being of service to their tribe, and holding space and ceremony with these plant spirits. And I want to say my hat's off to them, and I give them all the respect, reverence, and honor that they deserve. That has not been my experience. I grew up in a very urban environment. I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky. I did not choose human-wise to be born there, but I want to give the respect to the tribes, the shamans of many of thousands of years past who have cultivated these medicines, who have brought them to the world stage, who have helped solidify their avatar and their consciousness because they're all a part of it. But plant medicines have been used for hundreds of thousands of years, since the time of Lemuria. The Mayans are the ones who brought cacao to the world 5,000 years ago, even before that, but that's our oldest recorded. That's how old we know today that has been used, but I bet it's 20, 30,000 years old that this plant has been used. The Egyptians, it dates back 2 or 3,000 years as far as we can see, but actually it was the Atlanteans that were using the blue lotus flower. So the blue lotus flower is the shamanic medicine of the ancient Egyptians. So plant spirit medicine and using them in ritual has shown up in all cultures across the world. The Hawaiians and their use of kava kava. Of course, the Peruvians in the Andean mountains and their use of psilocybin mushrooms, but mostly Wachuma the cactus and ayahuasca, the grandmother vine. So all cultures have this remembrance in them and this connection to a plant spirit. And in my process, I have been told many times, you can't hold ayahuasca, you're not Peruvian. You can't hold cacao, you're not Central American, or even though cacao grows all over the world, not just in Central America. So I started to have to ask myself, what makes someone able to hold something? Because they're from that culture? Or, are you not allowed to eat bananas because you're not from, Colombia? I had to really wrap my mind around all of the programs that were happening as well, because the point of plant medicine work for thousands and thousands of years was to bring people together. And that's what we really want this to do. We want to honor and respect where these medicines are coming from and the cultures that center their whole world around these medicines. We want to support them and give back to them. But also, ayahuasca did come to me specifically and said, I would like to be taken out of Peru. And she didn't mean physically. She meant my consciousness, my awareness. I want to reach as many people as possible, and I need you to help me do that. And I thought, who am I to do that? Who am I? Why me? And it was because I felt like I was too white, too young, too not experienced enough. And really, she just wants as many people to touch her energy as possible because she also knows that I'm going to give back and help replant those vines. And so there's reciprocity and integrity there as well. So at some point in the 1900s, some of you on this call may even remember when this happened, but there was something called the War on Drugs, one of the biggest mind control psyops that have ever happened in the US government, or in the world government, I should say. I also saw someone put something in the chat. I want to make sure I have this up here to see. Oh, thank you, Patty. I appreciate that. I also love when you all put things in the chat. My Gemini brain loves knowing what's juicy, what's feeling good, and if you all have any questions along the way too. So the war on drugs was simple. First of all, let's make all of these harmful substances illegal so that we can control them and control how much is coming into our government and selectively place these drugs, and I'm talking about heroin, cocaine, things that aren't natural plant medicines, selectively and purposefully place them in certain parts of cities to create certain people and to create certain class systems. All of this was done on purpose. And then they grouped things like psilocybin, mescaline from Wachuma, ayahuasca. They grouped them in with the Schedule A, Class 1, I think, or Schedule A, which means that they think that psilocybin is as dangerous as heroin or methamphetamine. We know that's not true. However, 15 years ago, if you had gone to the supermarket and mentioned magic mushrooms, everyone would have called it a drug or laughed at it. Now, all of you could go to Whole Foods right now and start talking about psilocybin, and someone will say, "Oh, I'm microdosing," or "I've read that. I saw that documentary." It's changing in such a big way, and the government is scrambling right now to figure out how they can be the ones who hold all of these psychedelics and are the ones who are the one giving them and creating them. That's what's happening right now. So it's actually really important that we do stay grassroots and connected with each other, and people like myself doing this work, or us doing this work, to keep it sacred forever. So what is a psychedelic? I constantly have to move this little chat box around. Sorry. So psychedelics are a subclass of hallucinogenic drugs, and they trigger non-ordinary states of consciousness. This is what I want you to think of going forward. We don't consider cacao hallucinogenic or psychedelic, but she's very healing. But some of these plant medicines are psychedelic. They are going to trigger an altered state of consciousness that goes beyond just emotions, and they help you merge with your spirit state. So the classical psychedelics that we usually talk about are mescaline, which is from peyote and wachuma, LSD, which is a chemical, psilocybin from psilocybin-containing mushrooms, MDMA, one of our most favorite medicines that we're not going to talk too much about today, but we do use in our system, MDMA, MDA, and DMT, which all have chemical forms of them, even though they can come from plants. And Humphrey Osmond, this guy right here, is the one who coined the term psychedelic, and I would love for you to write this down and never forget it, because it's so poetic, and it's one of my most favorite aspects of the word psychedelic is what it means. So in Greek, psyche means soul or mind, and delene means manifest. So psychedelic actually translates to mind manifested or mind manifesting, which means that you're manifesting more of your superconscious mind. And that is truly what they do. Even ones that are chemical, like LSD. there's absolute healing benefits to that. I believe plants are more in alignment with us as humans in general, but some of those chemical psychedelics are so powerful and can create shifts that if you only use it once or twice in your healing process, it creates the shift you need. That's what we call technology. So, drugs versus medicine. From this point forward, I would love for you never to refer to psilocybin or wachuma or grandfather or grandmother ayahuasca or godfather iboga as drugs. I would love for you to only consider them medicine, because it doesn't matter if they do, like coca leaves. Coca leaves contain a substance called cocaine. Cocaine is not a bad thing. It's just when you take cocaine away from the plant and turn it into a white powder, it's like white sugar. There's a drug aspect. It's not in its natural state, and your body recognizes that it's not in its natural state. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, though. Okay, I had a client one time who was a heroin addict, and she described the spirit of heroin as kind of like Medusa, but a loving mother as well. She said she felt very held by the spirit of heroin, and you can get very addicted to that drug. So or that medicine is how she referred to it. And that really helped me to see, wow, it's not the chemical heroin that is the problem. It's the fact that the excessive use of it is not in alignment with us as humans. But even that negative or dark experience, we would call it, has medicine in it if you're an alchemist. So not all chemical compounds are bad. So some of them that we can talk about, of course, are ketamine. I am not a huge fan of ketamine, even though I know that it works if you're called to it, in what it does. It's a tranquilizer, a horse tranquilizer. Hey, we're alchemists. We're doing the best we can. I think there's a reason the government loves ketamine so much and why they're pushing ketamine, because it's so easy to make and it's a horse tranquilizer, and it doesn't really offer as much healing as some of the other ones do. MDMA on its own, which can come from sassafras but can be chemically made, LSD, DMT, 5-MeO DMT from the Bufo, ibogaine clinics all around the world for addiction, which ibogaine comes from iboga, but they're not using iboga in these clinics. And people are healing their heroin addiction, their alcoholism, their withdrawal symptoms way faster than they would naturally or with traditional therapy, and not using iboga the plant, using just the chemical, and they're getting the results. So we want to welcome science and technology into the space as well. Now, some benefits of plant medicine work, and here, this is just some, and these are some that I have found in my own process and with my clients: reconnection with nature, earth, and animals. Um, this is specifically for me eradicating over analyzing, dissociation, and body dysmorphia. Really helped me with that. Um, Let me get rid of this chat box. Detoxification of the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. All aspects of you, it detoxifies density, and it just knows what to do. These medicines are adaptogenic. That means they know where to go in your system, like cannabis. Cannabis doesn't bring inflammation down in every area of your body. It only brings it down where there is excessive inflammation, because it's a smart plant spirit medicine that is adaptogenic. Rewiring, this is a huge part of this, is the fact that these medicines can rewire your brain. It's the neural pathways in your brain are why every time you hear a loud, sudden noise, you have a panic response. That can be rewired, okay? Creating new neural pathways and impacting all major functions of the brain, from cognition, memory, intuition. Blue Lotus, absolutely, for that one. Trauma responses are what we would call triggers. Increased connection to your spirit essence. I mean, everyone who works with psychedelics has a newfound connection with their higher self, or this greater God, source, goddess, totality, whatever that is for you. You can actually feel it. Working with psychedelics for some people, or plant medicines, can be the first time that they've awakened in the matrix, where they start to see beyond the veil and the illusions. Hormonal rewiring and rebalancing. We have lots of clients who come back from retreats with their cycle becomes more regular, or it's heavier for a while as something is recalibrating. There's something energetic that even happens on a hormonal level when you work with these medicines. Of course, addiction and addictive behaviors, like all the medicines help with addiction, but specifically iboga. It is the one that targets that sector of the brain. If you're already doing healing work, whether it's spiritual healing work, traditional therapy, plant medicine can accelerate that whole process because every time you have an epiphany in your therapy session or a breakthrough, it's not always recorded or embedded into your subconscious and into your neural pathways. So if you're microdosing during an integration session or during the week that you have your therapy, you're more likely to come to the breakthrough more easily, and the breakthrough actually permanently solidifies itself in your brain chemistry when you're working with these medicines. So this is also where I'm going to say I'm all about just working with the plant spirit. You don't even have to drink the medicine. I tell people all the time, you don't even have to drink the medicine. However, there's a reason we do. These medicines actually will heal the physical body when you drink them. More love for self and others. This is a big one. I mean, everyone who comes to my retreats or in any retreat I've ever been into are in puppy piles and loving all over each other. People who don't like to be touched. Their parents never said I love you to them, and so just touching them on their arm makes them feel weird. All of that just melts and dissolves away, and they love it because they actually wanted that connection. And that's one of my most favorite parts of the medicine work. And then access to past life and ancestral information, and it boosts psychic abilities and creativity because it turns on the right side of your brain. The past life and ancestral part is huge because a lot of what you all are experiencing in your healing process in your current life come from your ancestors. We know that scientifically now, but also there are influences from other lives where you were killed as a witch, where you didn't make it past 20 ever. And so those types of fears of growing up or fears of sharing your gifts with the world because you might be persecuted show up in this lifetime in ways that you don't even realize until the medicine shows you where it's coming from, which is, again, one of the most powerful parts of this work. Now, I'd love to hear from everyone again. What does sacred mean to you? We all have something. The word sacred is tossed around a lot in this work. Sacred medicine, sacred space, sacred healing process. But what does sacred mean to you? And someone always has some new definition for it, so I'm actually curious. What does sacred mean to you? Nina says, treated with care and reverence. Love that. Reverence is a great word. Shelley says, of the highest truth from the divine. Love it. It holds a special and deep inner connection that is held with love and respect. Again, there's that respect that's coming in. Kim says, God-given. I love that. Yeah, when we use the word sacred, there can sometimes be a religious connotation to it as well, but really it just means something of the highest respect, something that you cherish the most, something that is held in the most reverent place, like a conversation between you and your partner about infidelity, let's just say. That's not something you want to have in public. It's you and your partner and your marriage and your relationship is sacred to you all. Christina says meaningful connections and honoring feelings. Yeah, honor. There's more of this honor word coming up a lot. Cindy says, hold such deep spiritual gifts that it is honored. Becca says, something so close to your heart that you want to protect it. Love that. Protecting it. Yeah. Benjamin says, a hug from the creator. I love that one. Yeah, we're all getting this idea that it's important, it deserves respect, and there's something not fragile, but sensitive about it. It has a special place for us. So when we do this work, it is sacred. Every aspect of it, the retreat space we choose, the land we journey on, the altar we create, the bedrooms, the way we clear the energy, like when we work with the medicines, how we bless it, infuse it, put crystals into it, because there's it's very sacred. When I made my cacao earlier that I'm drinking right now, I made a 5-minute time for myself to bless it, connect with it, and create a sacred moment for myself, which is important when you do this work, because the more you can approach it like approaching a master teacher or going to meet the guru on the top of the mountain in the temple, the more it will give you that powerful education and knowledge back that you come to it with. So, I want to talk a little bit about reciprocity, and it's important that we give back. So, if you go on the Medicine Alchemist website, you'll see these links here. Um, the Medicine Alchemist, we give 3% of all of our retreat proceeds. So, when you come to our open to the public retreats, we give 3% of those profits to 3 organizations. And I have the links that I'm going to put into the chat. Give me a second. I'm going to put these into the chat just in case you all feel called to do this. So these 3 links are for Seeds of Peace, which is at thegardenofpeace.com. And Seeds of Peace is owned by a gentleman named Ashley who lives in Peru on this huge property where there's a Shipibo shaman who also lives on the property who runs all of the ceremonies. This is the only organization I have been able to find that actually replants ayahuasca vine. So all of the other organizations give money back to the tribes and support their medicine trade and replanting their medicine and food for their village and that sort of thing, and also teaching awareness to the world around this work. Seeds of Peace actually replants it, and that's where we get our ayahuasca from. So we also work with Indigenous Medicine Conservation Fund and Indigenous Reciprocity Initiative. And these two actually give back to multiple different plant medicine organizations. Like Indigenous Reciprocity Initiative actually helps iboga stay out of the black market and be replanted in Africa. So I tried to pick companies that did things that what I felt was very needed that I wanted to give my money to. And I also did research and contacted them and are connected with them. Excuse me. So I know where our money is going when you donate to these organizations. And also the endangerment part. I just want to touch base on that. Some of these plants are not endangered. Iboga is, but like ayahuasca is not endangered yet, but it could become. It takes 10 years for an ayahuasca vine to grow full size. It's not like psilocybin that grows in several weeks. So my work has also been around how do we work with these plant spirits while using less of their physical medicine as well, and we'll get to that. So again, I talked a little bit about my experience with medicine and shamanism. I've trained with several different mentors, 6 of them in particular, who all had different lineages, worked with medicine in different ways. One of them didn't work with medicine at all, and I just learned drumming and rattling and journeying with her. So there's been different ways I've touched in with all of this over the years, but most of my training has come from the plant spirit medicine in my own journeys and in my own work. I would say the bulk of what I've really embodied comes from actually doing it and answering the call, but there was definitely training that went into it. And shamanism is an art form. So shamanism is using sound and vibration and voice and journeying and guided visualization and animal spirits and plants to awaken things within you and take you deep into yourself. It's kind of like mixing hypnosis with tribal dance and art therapy and vocal toning and sound healing. There's so many things that fall into the shamanic archetype. But my experience again with that group, where they were not working with medicine in an integral way and was telling people they were receiving things that they weren't. That was a big one. Was I found out that what I was being told was in that capsule was not actually what was in that capsule, and that sort of lit a fire in me to do this the right way. And I really had to sit with shamanism in my own way and what felt right to me in the medicine world. And so, in the world of shamanism, everything is has a location. Father Sky, Mother Earth, above and below you. But we really anchor ourselves in using the shamanic medicine wheel. Every shamanic culture has their own medicine wheel. This is mine. That is a conglomeration of several of them. Some of them, the South is the body. For others, the West is the body. This is just how I feel into it for myself. So the North represents the mind and its water. The East, which is where the spirit enters the body, represents the spirit. The South is the heart and it's fire. And the West is earth, and that is the body. That is my medicine wheel. And so you'll find that all of these medicines that we're going to talk about today actually fall into these categories. Maybe they are a heart medicine, like cacao activates the heart and the body. Psilocybin activates all four directions. So I want you to know that even when we go into our shamanic activation, we're going to be calling in the directions because it anchors us into time space where we are and creates a container around us, above and below and all around, which is how it's like trying to eat cereal off of a plate. It doesn't really work. When you've got all of this different energy that's moving through you up and out and in, you want to create a container for that to exist in, like a pot for you to put your soil in. The work that we do here at the Medicine Alchemist is a little different. We're talking about plant spirits today, yes, but also we work with mushrooms. We work with ormus, which is a type of mineral medicine. It's monoatomic gold. And we also do work with chemical compounds that are made by MAPS or made for MAPS, like the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies. So you'll notice my medicine profile, our medicine profile, has 13 medicines in it. Some of them are plants, some of them are mushroom medicine, some of them are monoatomic gold, others are compounds that are used in conjunction with some of these plants. And we mix and alchemize them in different ways. The gold aspect, just to touch on that real quick, if you all are not already taking monoatomic gold or ormus, ORMUS, go check it out. This is something that is legal that you can use, that was used by pharaohs and emperors and kings for thousands of years. Monoatomic gold is one of the most incredible ways for you to detoxify your body, but also open your upper chakras, expand your energy field. And we mix it with all of our medicine mixtures or elixirs, as I would like to call it. Everyone who works with me in ceremony is also going to have monoatomic gold in their medicine. And the reason we do that is because it's like sunlight. Gold is like densified sunlight, and ormus actually activates your DNA. So people have a smoother, more easy experience in the medicine when we work with monoatomic gold in there. And also, I love mixing these plant spirits with the mushrooms in certain ratios with the monoatomic gold. Because if you think about it, in nature, plants need mushrooms and mycelium to grow, and they also need sunlight. And so, what we do when we combine these medicines together is we create a really incredible greenhouse effect inside of you, where this new version of you that's sprouting, or this new seed that's been planted metaphorically, can literally take root and start to thrive and flourish. It's just a more modernized or more technologically advanced way of working with these medicines. It also makes the purging and all of some of the more negative side effects of the medicine less as well. You're welcome. So, Apothecare was again born out of my own negative experiences with medicine, and there are 13 medicines. This is the monoatomic gold in the center, and they all lead toward the center. Everything is mixed with that monoatomic gold. But for me, what I really felt into was these medicines wanted to work as a team. Some of them you do mix together, like these three can be mixed together. These three can be mixed together. These three. When you combine some of these plant spirits, for instance, I'll give you an example. Iboga is a very powerful plant medicine. It is the most dangerous psychedelic in the world. And it can last for 2 days in a full journey. That's not necessary for me. I don't feel that you have to earn your healing, and I don't feel like you have to um, purge and shit yourself to heal yourself. I don't think it's necessary. Have I purged and thrown up on myself and released all over myself during a shamanic journey and medicine experience before? Yes, I have. Was that the most impactful journey I've ever had? No. Some of my most impactful journeys were much more subtle. So I had to really learn not all of that equals more healing. And some of these medicines are just hard on the body, like ayahuasca. There are compounds in it that irritate the stomach lining. Well, if we reduce the amount of ayahuasca that's coming in and we increase the amount of psilocybin that's going in to counteract that, then you get a much more easy, much more navigatable ayahuasca experience. And that's not for everyone, but for someone who wants to work with the grandmother and wants to with it in this way, we've created that ability for you. And when we're using less of the brew and more of the mushroom, we are contributing to more biodiversity and not contributing to the endangerment of a plant species. Does anyone have any questions for me so far? I feel like I'm giving you all tons of information, and I don't want your brains to turn off. I want to make sure that I'm getting this information to you, and if there's any questions about any of this, that we answer it before going forward, because we're about to go into meeting these plant spirits. And I want you to pay attention as we move forward, as we talk about each one of these plant spirits. I'm not going to talk about MDMA, and which I call purple rain. I'm not going to talk about those clinical activators. We're just going to talk about the main spirit medicines and the shamanic medicines that have a personality to them. Shelley says, all is making sense. Okay, beautiful. So the first medicine in our medicine profile is Mama Cacao, and this is available to all of you. If you're not already working with cacao, you are missing out. This medicine was used by the Mayans, and yes, it is the main plant ingredient in what we call chocolate, but this is not chocolate. This brew here is not chocolate by any means. Cindy says, are there any medical conditions that someone should avoid these medicines? Yes. So every medicine is different, but there are certain medical conditions like high blood pressure or certain thyroid issues, or if you're taking certain medications. So it's a case by case basis. Even Mama Cacao, ceremonial cacao, when what that means is the cacao was grown on land that was organic, harvested by farmers and shamans in a regenerative way and a sustainable way, was blessed by that tribe or those farmers, and was completely untouched in any other way. So it was made to be medicine. Chocolate does not contain all of the phytochemicals and alkaloids that cacao has in it. People can think of cacao as like the beginner's plant medicine, but when you really connect with her energy, she's one of the most powerful for the heart. And even cacao contains MAOIs, which are antidepressants. So while it is safe to use if you're on certain antidepressants or are sensitive to MAOIs, you want to be careful with cacao. But generally speaking, most of them are safe until you get to the upper realms. We want to be more careful. But cacao contains theobromine, which opens the heart. There is caffeine in cacao, but theobromine is more of the cousin to caffeine. So there's a big stimulating energy. And I am feeling that now as I have been working with this medicine for the past hour. And I am feeling the stimulation happening in my body. Give me just a second. I love to drink cacao because she just puts you into the field. She's got bliss molecules in her. It contains anandamide, which is the bliss molecule. It's so interesting because cacao actually contains, it's called PEA, phenylethylamine, and it is the same chemical your brain releases when you fall in love. So when you drink cacao, not only is there a heart-opening, blood-pumping ingredient in it that gets your body moving and your actual heart blood moving, because Theobroma cacao, the plant name for this medicine, actually means heart blood of the gods, or food of the gods and heart blood. And They knew even then how powerful this was for the heart. They started to, in the Aztec times, they started mixing cacao with cayenne pepper and giving it to warriors before they went off to war. But that was because the Aztecs were much more masculine than the Mayans. The Mayan people used cacao as a ceremony leader and as a community builder and a tribe connector. So they would actually, when there were two Mayan tribes that were at odds, the chiefs would come together and they had to, by agreement, drink a cup of cacao together. And if they left that meeting still wanting to go to war or battle, they could. But usually that didn't happen because the point was to allow Mama Cacao to break down the heart walls and connect them so that they could become a larger community instead of a fractal or discordant organism. So, oh, well, thank you, Brittany. Sometimes I'm like, my Mercury and Gemini can just give you all these words, and I don't want it to be that way. I want you to feel the energy as well. So thank you for reflecting that back. Um, Mama Cacao is the queen of hearts. She is the heart opener, and I love mixing her with other medicines like psilocybin. The Mayans mixed cacao with psilocybin for thousands of years. They work beautifully together. Cacao actually makes psilocybin stronger. It will help it come on faster, but also you enter the spirit realm through the heart. In my work, we love going into the heart first, because if you can go into the spirit realms through the heart, you won't get stuck in your mind where you have what they call a bad trip. Okay. And also remember, the heart is the key and the gateway to the 5D consciousness we're all trying to reach. So Mama Cacao really holds that code. She's got a Pachamama energy. She holds the frequency of the nurturing, grounded, stable mother. So she has sort of a masculine energy in her as well, but she's really the heart activator that nourishes you, helps you release emotions, holds you in your healing process, and it contains antidepressant and bliss molecules in it. So while you're falling in love with yourself and your inner child again, you feel held by this plant spirit in such a beautiful way, and you can get up and drive right after. You know, it's legal to you to purchase, so I'm highly recommending you all work with cacao in your own process. Brittany says, what about taking a microdose of psilocybin with cacao? I will get to that, but I'm going to absolutely recommend that. When you work with your microdose and drink cacao with it, your microdose will feel stronger. But it is more effective for me. I even have a microdosing blend that has cacao in it. So now we're going to move on to medicine number 2. And this is one of my absolute favorite medicines. This is the medicine I resonate with the most as a archetype. And Uncle Sass, or Auntie Sass as we call them, they are not a male or a female. They are actually a two-spirit. So in my medicine work, I worked with what we call Snow White. And it is a medicine that comes from sassafras, but it's a clinical activator. It is a chemical. And the spirit of sassafras, which is where this medicine came from, came to me. And it presented itself in 3 ways. It presented itself as a two-spirit, which I did know what that was. I also identify very much with being dual gender. I do not feel like a man or a woman. I feel like both. I do not claim the title of two-spirit, as that is specifically for Native American tribes and was coined in 1990 specifically for Native people. But I believe that the two-spirit archetype can show up across all cultures, and it shows up everywhere, and I do feel very resonant with that. Sassafras, they showed up as a two-spirit. They also showed up as me. It was very weird. I didn't understand it at first, but what Uncle Sass wanted me to know was they wanted me to feel that I was that archetype, that we all have a medicine we resonate with. Some of you are very anti-lotus. Some of you are very Mama Cacao. Some of you are very ayahuasca, and you know who you are. So we all have one of those energies that we really resonate with, and this medicine also showed itself to me as the singer Prince. And Prince really holds that Uncle Sass energy. Prince was totally a safe, playful, anti-uncle energy. And that's what Uncle Sass really holds. Now, let's talk a little bit about this medicine because we've all heard about it in some way. My dad used to call me sassafras as a kid because I was sassy, he said. So, again, something else that kept showing up. He also used to call me the master of ceremonies from the time I was a little kid because of all the gatherings and parties I would have. And now I do ceremony work. So, you want to pay attention to those funny little jokes when you were a kid that sort of were foreshadowing. Sassafras came to me and said, I'm a two spirit, but I had no idea that sassafras was actually a two spirit energy. And here's where it gets really cool. So I started to do research on sassafras because I loved the three lobed leaves. Sassafras came to me in that journey when I was in my retreat center where sassafras was growing all around me. It was in Georgia. I live in California now, but in Georgia, there's sassafras everywhere. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, and the largest sassafras tree in the whole world is in Louisville, Kentucky. And so I felt really called to go deeper with it. And I felt like nobody's using sassafras in ceremony. People are totally missing the code in this energy. And for thousands of years, the Cherokee, the Choctaw tribe, the Lakota, the Mississippian Indians, the mound builders of the southeastern regions of the United States, they used sassafras as a heal-all medicine. It was a tonic. It's a blood purifier. It cleans your blood of heavy metals and toxins. It opens the heart. It has ancient codes in it, really grounding, beautiful Native American codes, even when you work with this medicine. But it also helps with arthritis, inflammation. It is a body medicine. This is also the medicine where MDA and MDMA come from. So, what is known as SAS and what is also known as Molly, which we don't call them that. But just so we're aware, MDMA and MDA do come from sassafras, from the saffron oil in sassafras. And then I did some more research and found out that sassafras is actually dioecious or dioecious, which means that this tree grows male and female flowers, which is pretty rare. So actually, the tree itself is a two spirit. And then I found a children's book called Sassy Sassafras, and it's a cartoon book made by an indigenous organization that helps with equality, and it's a two-spirit organization, and it's a whole book about a young two-spirit child who goes to their grandmother and wants to find their place in the world, and their grandmother tells them the story of the two-spirit and how the sassafras tree has three distinct leaf types. One of the leaves is one lobe, another leaf has two lobes on it, and then there's the three-lobed leaf, which is this tree's most unique leaf type and the one it's most known for. And the grandmother explains that the one-lobed leaf is the female, the two-lobed is the male, and the three-lobed is the two-spirit, and that even nature recognizes a third gender, and that the Native Americans hold. I'm going to get a little emotional, and I'm just going to let that move through me. The Native Americans hold the two-spirit gender and the third gender as something that is sacred and reverent. When a Native American shaman or elder identified a child as a two-spirit, they would specifically nurture, train, and mentor that child because they believed that two spirits were gifts to their tribe, that they were the mediators between the masculine and the feminine, and that they were the code that helped keep the holy triad in place within their tribe, and that they were meant to become shamans and healers. So Uncle Sass really holds that energy, and when you work with Uncle Sass medicine, there is something masculine and feminine to it. And we were not raised with that. It was not, we were not raised in tribes where we were shown a third gender and that this was supposed to be a part of the ecosystem of our tribe. So a lot of clients come into my space and they feel that third gender energy or that dual nature, and it triggers them. There's a lot of homophobia that I've dealt with, and also a lot of just gender dysphoria within myself that reflects itself outside of myself. And people just not understanding that. They want you to be a safe, grounded masculine or a wild priestess woman. And anything in between that is, they don't understand it. And I understand that they're having a hard time with it, but it's because they're not aware that it can exist. They don't even want to choose to say the word they or them. Patty says, it's incredible to witness your light and remembrance. Thank you. Oh, well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for saying that. And Cindy says, agree 100%. Oh, well, I appreciate you all. Thank you for seeing me, because I have not always felt seen for those things, because I know I have a beard and I pretty much present pretty masculine, but I'm as dual gender as they come, I can tell you. So the next medicine I want to go into, and I want you all again to really be sitting with each one of these medicines as we go through, because when we get to our activation, we'll need to remember each one of these medicines. Anti-Lotus. Oh, my goodness. She always makes her presence known. There are times where I'm talking about other medicines and I'll see blue, purplish, sparkly things in my vision, and I'll know, I hear you, Auntie. So I want you to think of Uncle Sass as Mama Cacao's little brother, who is actually not a brother, but a little sibling, who is an aunt and an uncle in one, who's very playful, who's a trickster, who plays jokes and pushes you, holds you, and has all of this. There's a trickster energy, kind of like the singer Prince. Could be sassy, but also very calm and can hold space. And you've got this dual energy. But Auntie Lotus is actually Mama Cacao's other little sibling, and she's the weird sister. She's the sister who smokes cannabis and plays with tarot cards and has crystals all over her house. She's the weird aunt who encourages you to be weird and live outside the box and to reach higher. And this is a very feminine medicine, and this goes back to the Egyptian times. I call Auntie Lotus the queen or the high priestess of the third eye. And they considered in ancient Egypt Auntie Lotus to be food of the gods. The chemicals, or I should say the alkaloids in lotus, are very powerful. This medicine can be used for Parkinson's disease. It's an aphrodisiac. It was used in sex magic rituals in the Egyptian times, but it was mainly used in the burial rites and in ceremonies to help detach the ka and the ba, which are considered the spirit bodies. So let's just say your astral body, to detach your astral body from the Akh, which was the physical body. So this medicine actually helps you astral project. If you've ever worked with this medicine, you know that your dreams are really vivid and wild. And this is a dream medicine. That's why the blend, my microdosing blend called Perceive, which contains lotus in it, is meant for nighttime. This is a beautiful medicine to journey with. It opens the right side of your brain. When I work with lotus by itself with no other medicine, I can imagine a flower and I can see the dew on the flowers. I can see the veins inside of the flowers. I can see such detail in my psychic visions. If you are wanting to work with psychedelics, Auntie Lotus is a great beginner because it is psychedelic. It does produce subtle visions and changes to your vision. It also will put you very inward. It can make talking hard. It just makes you want to be quiet and inward. It's perfect for meditation, deep journeys, laying outside in the grass all day and sitting under a tree and just receiving. This is a great medicine for that. But she is a medicine of remembrance. She holds those Atlantean Chem Egyptian codes, those priestess transmissions. And she, although it is a medicine that decalcifies the pineal gland and opens the third eye. So this is a medicine you want to work with if you want to increase your psychic abilities. This is also a medicine that helps you remember your place as a priestess or your oracle divine nature. There's something royal about the Auntie Lotus experience as well, as she wants you to sort of reclaim that remembrance. Remember who you are, she says. Remember who you are. So the one everyone's talking about, psilocybin. So these are neither masculine or feminine, but I want to touch on them a little bit, even though we won't really be journeying to meet them. I want to give them their flowers. This is by far, hands down, my favorite medicine of all time. And it is not a plant, it is a fungus. Mushrooms are a slightly different organism than a plant. They're more like a clam in the sea or something like that. They are sentient and alive, but they're not technically a plant. And psilocybin mushrooms are very interesting because psilocybin mushrooms didn't exist on this planet for most of the time it was here and arrived here, according to scientists, on asteroids or comets. Terence McKenna believes they were actually given to us by advanced races to, ensure that we remembered who we are and remembered our galactic place in the universe. And when we went through the ascension process, psilocybin and them they knew that it would come to the forefront. Regardless of what you believe, they are called magic mushrooms for a reason. We use 3 different forms of psilocybin in our medicine profile. One of them is a heart opening strain called Angel. Another one is a body activating strain, a very masculine strain called King Kong. And then another one that is very mind oriented, that really it matches ayahuasca's energy, called Pan's Labyrinth. And they do slightly different things. Your average psilocybin mushroom is going to generally give you the results of what psilocybin offers you. However, in our journey experiences, we know that, after the many of them that I've tried and worked with in the past 10 years, I identified which ones were not only very potent, because if you've ever worked with magic mushrooms, trust me, the as little mushrooms as possible to get you there is great, because we don't want to be eating and consuming these mushrooms while we're trying to go on a journey. So the more potent strain is better. That way, when you're taking the medicine, it's much smoother for you, much easier to consume. But also they do slightly different things. But generally, the molecule psilocybin, which is in all of these mushrooms, has certain benefits to it. And it is my favorite because, I very much resonate with being a starseed. And so there's something that psilocybin gives me that none of the other medicines give me, because it's very alien when you work with it. And I mean that with love. We will talk a little bit more about psilocybin when we get to microdosing. So I have skipped quite a few medicines, like the clinical activators, and we went somewhat into the mushrooms. But I want to talk about the 3 grand teachers. Okay, these are your master teachers. So the first one is grandfather, and this is the masculine archetype. So grandfather really holds the divine, sacred masculine pole. And this is a cactus that was used. It grows in the United States. Ours is grown in California. But again, it was the Peruvians that brought it to the world stage and into the ceremony space. This is the spirit medicine. So you've got ayahuasca, iboga, and wachuma. These are your 3 main spirit medicines in our profile that take you all the way into spirit and activate all 4 directions. This medicine, however, is very heart. Out of all of the spirit medicines, this is the most heart-opening one, and you feel it mostly in your heart, because what grandfather does is open up the portal to the divine and then pulls it down, grounds it with its masculine energy into your heart space, where it can become something real. It can become something you embody in the moment, which is very masculine. Where his counterpart, which we'll talk about in a moment, ayahuasca, does something different. This medicine is one of my absolute favorites as well, because grandfather's very patient, loving, sensual, and it's long lasting. It's a sun medicine, where ayahuasca is done at night. You work with grandfather during the day and absorb those solar codes. There's a bliss energy to grandfather as well, but it is a deep spirit medicine. And you work with grandfather when you're ready to heal your masculine or heal like I healed so much feminine wounding and masculine programming with grandfather. He told me one time the man and the money are the same thing. And he had me lay back into him. And I had never felt that safe with a man before. He would even present himself to me almost like a really good looking 50, 60-year-old, like Central American or Peruvian shaman man with a goatee and this beard. He just, there was something even sexy about him. I don't know how to explain it. He wants you to feel safe with your sexual energy. He wants you to feel safe to lean into your feminine. It's all about safety with grandfather. There's no safer masculine energy than grandfather Wachuma. And he really wants to help you lock in receiving that and embodying your own sacred masculine, holding space for others, being in your process and forgiving. There's such a forgiveness that comes about in the grandfather experience. Now, on the flip side of that, we've got grandmother ayahuasca, which doesn't really ground you into anything. It takes you up and out. So we know ayahuasca is the one that everyone's talking about, like psilocybin, and everyone wants to go work with ayahuasca. They don't know what they're getting themselves into. It's not that she's scary, it's that the divine feminine energy is ferocious, savage, and life-giving, and she's very indirect. Ayahuasca will, she'll take you places and not play games with you, but set things up to where you have to figure it out on your own, where grandfather can be a little bit more direct. I'm over here when you're ready. She sets up experiences where you have to find it, where you have to work your way through a maze, and all of that builds up certain muscles within you as a soul and in your healing process. Grandmother is loving, though. There's so many times grandmother will come through with such loving messages. She is like my mother's mother, who was wild and intense, but we never missed a meal. She was one of the best grandmothers you could ever ask for. All of our needs were met, and there was love, and you could feel that love permeating throughout everything. But grandmother ayahuasca, this medicine does contain DMT, which is the spirit molecule, which is designed to take you fully out of your body. DMT is what's released into the brain when you die, when you cross over into non-physical. So there is something that grandfather and grandmother really hold. I believe some people who are called to ayahuasca should work with grandfather first so that they can ground a bunch of that in. That way, when they go up into the spirit, they're so much more solid in it. So again, there's a path that you can take in your medicine journey, no pun intended. And then the last one, which is another one that you're going to hear a lot about in the coming years due to its effect on addiction and even obsessive compulsive disorder and things like that. Godfather Iboga. Now, you won't hear that term coined anywhere else. I am the one who call him Godfather. That's what it came to me as. So if you research Godfather Iboga, you may not get a lot of results, just informing. But Godfather is also a very masculine medicine, but it's a different type of masculine. He's sort of like ayahuasca and grandfather mixed together, but he's, again, very masculine, very direct. Grandfather stands in front of you and holds you solid. Godfather pushes you forward. This is about liberation. The Bwiti people of Africa and Gabon, Africa, are the ones who hold ayahuasca in ceremony. And the Bwiti people believe that you shouldn't believe in anything until you've had your own experience of it. And that's why they go into journey with Godfather, is to have their own experience of the divine and their own experience with the dead even. This is the longest, most dangerous psychedelic journey you could go on. So in our work, we mix Iboga, a very small amount of it, with King Kong because it matches his energy. And so you're able to work with the spirit of Iboga, but it's kind of like Santa Claus and his reindeer. The reindeer are getting us there, but it's Santa who's leading this whole thing and steering the way. So we bypass some of the chemical side effects of some of these medicines by mixing them, so you can still have the epiphany and have the shift without the 2-day journey, without the shitting and purging. And I'm being funny when I'm being so crass about that, because we welcome all of that as well. There's something to be said about going into the Maloka and sweating and journeying and screaming and releasing it all. There's something very warrior about that, and I have done that. But also, those were not my favorite experiences, okay? And if I did not have other more powerful, positive, beautiful experiences, I would have not come back to medicine work back in the day, okay? So it's about knowing where we are in the process. But Godfather contains ibogaine. This is the only molecule that has been proven to target the addictive sectors of the brain and turn it off. Wow, nature literally, I'm getting chills right now. I can feel his energy. Nature has everything we need. It is incredible. You have people who are about to die from heroin who've been on heroin for 15 years off and on with just 6 ibogaine treatments, not even working with iboga, going to an ibogaine clinic in Colorado, and they don't have any cravings permanently. These medicines, when approached with respect and gone and done in the right settings, can be completely life-altering and changing. So I want to touch base before we go into our shamanic activation about what the differences between tripping and journeying is. So in my world, we're not going to use the word tripping. There's no tripping of balls. There's none of that. There's journeying. You're not tripping implies something accidentally. And that's what happens when you take a bunch of mushrooms or LSD and go to a concert and you're just floating around in space. You are tripping because it's like you've tripped on the mountain and you're just tumbling down and whatever happens, happens. Journeying is much more intentional and respectful. So what we do is journey with or without medicine. But even with these medicines, it's not a mushroom trip. It's a mushroom journey because it's a story, you all. When we go on the journey today, I'm going to invite you to use your imagination and I'm going to guide you through it. But also journeying is an art form because it's you surrendering to your imagination's ability to create a story for you to work your way through. And when you do that, you're actually self-hypnotizing yourself into different brainwave frequencies and into deeper states of consciousness where your subconscious, your shadow, your inner child, your trauma, your past life programming is available to work with and be dissolved and processed. Now, has anyone in here in this group not microdosed? Raise your hand. There's a raise your hand function in Zoom if you have not microdosed. Wow, everyone has microdosed. Okay. Oh, I see. Cindy. Okay. I'm wondering where everyone is in this so I know how to speak to it. Give me a second. We're almost there. Oh, technology. Oh, Mercury retrograde. I know you're tired of me blaming you. And it worked. Okay. So everyone pretty much has microdosed in this group, which is great, but I just want to illustrate what the difference is. So macrodosing would be taking a larger amount of a medicine, and microdosing is taking a subperceptual dose, which means it's under the threshold of a psychedelic experience. So when you work with microdosing, a lot of times when I microdose with one capsule, I'll really feel it, but it'll feel like when you've had a cup of espresso. You don't see things. You're not too altered that you can't drive, but there can be a body experience and an emotional experience, sure. But a true microdose is really zero point 0.2 grams or lower of psilocybin if we're talking about psilocybin, because you can microdose many of these medicines. That's why I've put a Y here, because microdosing with the Y is specifically microdosing mushrooms. Mycology is the study of mushrooms. So microdosing with an I means that you're taking a very small amount of any substance, even cacao. Cannabis can be microdosed. So what are the benefits of microdosing? So improved cognitive performance. This is across the board. This is what I have found in my own process with clients, and it sounds similar to the benefits of working with plant medicine in general, but these are the ones that have been scientifically proven to help mushroom-wise or psilocybin-wise. This isn't, these benefits were specifically done with clinical trials with microdosing psilocybin. Improved cognitive performance, boosted creative abilities, one of my favorite aspects of it, increased visual function. You all, when I work with, I have clear vision, but maybe it's not 2020 because sometimes I take a microdose and everything looks like the sharpen function has been turned up, or sharpness has been turned up. It actually increases your uh, eyesight, because it's feeding the brain. You've got more electroconductivity happening in the brain. Everything's just more optimal. Better physical performance. I have a lot of people who use my body one, the one that's called Relieve, for physical pain and agility. Um, Achieving flow state. All of you know what it's like when you wake up the next day and you're not in the same flow as you were. You have to build a website and do a session with your client and go channel something from the Galactic Council. It's a lot of work being a light worker out here, okay? And flow state is hard to get into, but these medicines will put you in. I get into flow state working with cacao. Symptoms of PTSD are eradicated. This MDMA may be the PTSD eradicator, but psilocybin is so beautiful at rewiring that amygdala to vagus nerve response that happens in the PTSD experience, which I've had PTSD from working with mushrooms, LOL. Okay. Back in the day, I had a 9-gram mushroom trip, which was awful. It was actually brilliant. It was beautifully brilliant, but I thought I was going to die. So I was anxious and panicking the entire time. And the space wasn't held for me, but I had PTSD after, and it was medicine that actually cured the PTSD completely. So it's interesting the way my journey took me in this so that I could see all sides of it. It reduces triggers, chronic pain reduction, reduced addictive patterns. I have one of my blends is called Rehab. It contains iboga and King Kong, and that one is really great for addiction. And then, of course, stronger connection to others. Who wouldn't like to go to the grocery store and not want to kill everyone in there? I know how you empaths are. You go to the grocery store and you're like, I want to love people, but also, have you seen the humans? When your heart's more open, you've had a little cacao, had a little microdose, they all do seem to be a little bit more like when you go to the zoo. Ooh, that sounds horrible. Sometimes I go to the grocery store and I'm like, they're just humans on this planet. You know what I mean? They're just all humaning and trying their best. And that's a really great place to be in. You're not as absorbed by it. Microdosing can really help your heart open and feel that connection to others, and those heart walls come down. So these are the 5 blends here. You can go to the website and check them out. There's a lot of information on the website about each blend. If you're curious, we offer pre-journey healing sessions, which are actually 15-minute calls to decide which blend is right for you, give you more information about it. If you're interested, we also offer those calls. So for you beginners in the microdosing world, I would highly recommend starting with lower doses. Again, with us, we can explain to you how all that works, because there are certain things that you should and shouldn't do when you're microdosing. There's also 3 different protocols that I want you to research. So just write down the name of it and research it, because they are available. It's called the weekday protocol. This is the one that we use mostly at the beginning of our microdosing containers. It's like Monday through Friday, off Saturday and Sunday. Here's the thing, you all. I'm going to go a little bit deeper into this, and thank you for being patient. Microdosing is an art as well. If you're taking a microdose every single day, your brain's going to stop using it if it's psilocybin. You don't just keep taking it every day. Also, if your off days are not strategically placed, you won't trick the brain into leveling up each time. You take the medicine away and then give it back to the brain 2 or 3 days later. And what this is doing is removing a crutch and putting it back, but also your brain will build a tolerance to psilocybin. So the off days are not only days to integrate, but they're days for your brain to reset. I have people all the time who have taken my microdosing blends when I used to sell them individually. I don't anymore. And they just did whatever they wanted with them. The medicine told me to take 3 grams today. So the medicine told you to take the whole bottle today? Okay? So basically you went on an unattended psychedelic macro journey. And if you are better for it, then the medicine called you to it, and I trust that. However, that's not why we make microdosing blends. Macro doses don't replace microdosing. That's like going to your dentist and getting dental surgery and going, I don't have to brush my teeth now. Your microdose is like a Sonicare toothbrush. Your Retreat experiences are like a dental cleaning or a whole surgery, actually. Okay. So the weekday protocol is great for beginners. Also, you'll find the Fadiman protocol, which is very popular. It's every 3 days. It's very easy. You take it, off 2 days, take it again, off 2 days. This is not very intuitive, though. I don't like microdosing protocols that are set and so structured and rigid like that, because as you move through your process, you will find that the medicine starts to speak to you. There are times where the calendar will say, take your microdose today. And the medicine, you'll just have this feeling like, I shouldn't take it today. I should just put it in my pocket, because you all can microdose with a capsule and put it in your pocket. I dare you to take one of my microdoses and walk around with it all day. And you will think that you have microdosed because it's in your energy field. Will there be brain rewiring effects to that? Not necessarily, because the chemical psilocybin is not in the brain and in the bloodstream, but the spirit of the plant is with you the whole day. So I'm encouraging you to try it in many ways. Now, Stamets Stack was developed by Paul Stamets, the cute guy with the beard and the mushroom hat. He basically said that lion's mane was really great to mix with psilocybin for brain rewiring, because lion's mane regrows new neural pathways and psilocybin rewires them. So they work great together. My blend called Believe contains lion's mane in it, and it's specifically for the Stamets Stack protocol, which is sort of like 4 days on, 3 days off. But I like to do mix Stamets Stack with the weekday protocol, especially at the beginning. A lot of you are going to say, how am I going to keep track of all this? This is so much. Like microdosing, who's going to guide me through all of this? We are. So we have customized protocols. We also offer something called Power Up. Well, they're rewired protocols: Power Up, Total System Upgrade, and System Reboot. They are 2-month, 4-month, and 6-month healing containers that offer weekly sessions. They're healing sessions with us and integration sessions. If you are working with psychedelics, microdosing, macrodosing, it doesn't matter. If you're healing deeply and you don't integrate that experience, you are missing more than 50% of the results. Integration is the least fun aspect of psychedelic work. It's the part where you have to show up to the session and talk about what you experienced during that magical or difficult moment. And it doesn't always feel like it's doing anything in the moment, and actually it is. So integration accounts for 50% of your work. When they have MDMA-assisted psychotherapy at MAPS, they have several weeks of integration after that. They're doing session while the medicine's working that day. But then for weeks, even months after, they meet with you and talk about the experience and start to integrate the pieces and how we put those pieces into our everyday life. These medicines are not going to do the work for you. That's the part I want you to understand. So we've created microdosing packages and containers for you where you're basically guided through the entire experience. It also includes something called Daily Dose Diary, and this is a 300-page digital and fillable. All of these check boxes and word boxes are fillable. You can do it on your phone or your computer, and it guides you through whether you're doing 2 months, 4 months, 6 months. You have your monthly planners in here. It's $19. It's available on the website. It comes free with the microdosing packages. This was a labor of love, you all. It took me 6 months to make this thing, and I really thought to myself, if I can't get them to book a microdosing package, they're not sure yet. They don't want to do that. They're not called to it. How do I make sure that if they are using microdosing that is mine or otherwise or someone else's, that they're doing it correctly and getting the most results out of it? Daily Dose Diary, whether you're using medicine or not, is a healing. It's a retreat in 300 pages. Okay, the one thing that many of you are wondering about, what about that thing that I don't want to happen, okay? What if I go to the retreat and everyone's having this incredible experience, but I'm the one screaming in the bathroom wanting it to stop? What if it doesn't go that way? What if actually I told you that every bad trip I've ever had happened because I was worried about having a bad trip? And so actually nothing bad was happening. I lived. I remember calling my mom the next day and I was like, I lived. I thought I was going to die last night. And it was the worst one I've ever had. But it actually was no more intense in certain ways than some of the other ones I've had that I fully enjoyed and like leaned into the challenging aspects. So know that your set and setting, your mindset is so important when you come into these experiences. So set and setting. Who is your practitioner? Do you trust them? Does your brain trust them or does your nervous system trust them? Because if you don't fully trust them, you're not going to go there. I remember mentors telling me you're only going to go as deeply as you feel safe enough to go on a nervous system level. So your environment, the music, the food, the people around you, the whole experience has to be right. And it's not going to be perfect. There are going to be aspects of it that trigger you. But do you feel safe? Do you feel like if I screamed right now, took my shirt off and howled at the moon, that they would all love me anyway and that that's welcome here? Okay. Or that if I giggle and can't stop laughing, that I'm not going to be shamed for it. Or if I get angry at the practitioner and feel really angry at the healer and don't realize that it's not necessarily about him or them, and they come and talk to me, am I going to feel safe to let that whole thing happen? Right. So, because it's happened multiple times to me where they were so safe that they were able to take it out on me. And then they came to me later saying, I don't think that was about you. And I say, I know that's what being the shaman is all about, is sometimes you embody who they are trying to heal from. Okay. And so all of that matters. Does this person know about these things? Are they offering this type of container to you? Do you feel safe? This retreat, we don't have any spots left for, but I'm just letting anyone on the call know we've got some retreats coming up. Mountain Manifesting, which is sort of a mind manifesting spinoff, will be at Mount Shasta on the Lionsgate portal. I've got 3 spots available for that. Desert Reset will be in Joshua Tree. It's a shadow alchemy retreat on Samhain, where Mountain Manifesting will be happening on Lionsgate, and I did that on purpose, but it was also supposed to be within the portal of Lunasa. So we do our retreats on the cross quarter points in the Celtic medicine wheel for a specific reason. The energy is very high during that time, but also my work has a lot to do with grid working and counteracting, let's just say, darker frequencies on the planet. And there are a lot of darker things happening on those cross quarter points, and we counteract that when we do these retreats. So when you come and work with in retreat with me, yes, you are working with medicine, but we do breath work, we do sound healing, we go out onto the land to the vortex points in Sedona and Shasta and Joshua Tree with a shaman. We do shamanic journeying and grid work and land healing. We give back and we receive. And if you have any questions, you can go to themedicinealchemist.com. So, the shamanic activation. Does anyone have any questions for me before we go any further? I know you all are ready to get in here and do this, but I just want to check in and make sure that you've drank some water. If you're going to lie down, make sure you can still hear me and that you're comfortable. Okay. I said to myself this morning, this will be a quick hour and a half. You won't keep them on here too long. But there's so much to this work, you all. There's so much that goes into it that I feel like, especially you all, some of you with the questions you've had, I don't want to give you information that is the Fisher Price version. I want to give you the collegiate version. And so that you can leave this really having the information that you need. Okay, it looks like everyone is getting ready. So go ahead and lie down or sit comfortably. If you're seated, put your feet firmly planted on the ground, your hands in your lap, not touching each other, in a state of openness and receptivity. And I would love for you all to look at the screen. Which one are you drawn to first? Whichever one came to mind first, whichever one of these stuck out to you first, I want you to call their energy in right now. Don't question it. Don't say, oh, but Auntie Lotus stuck out to me and I really wanted to work with grandmother. We're going to trust which one stuck out to you first. And I want you to remember And I want you to hold this image of them very strongly in your mind's eye. And right now, you're going to start to cultivate that connection with them and start to drop into sacred space and start to come into the awareness that this plant spirit teacher is ready to work with you and you're ready to come find them. So we're going to keep our physical eyes closed. I'm going to stop sharing. And we're going to do 3 deep breaths in through the nose. You're going to be breathing in through your nose during this time and exhaling out of your mouth. So just stay with me. Excuse me. Energy is already releasing a lot of it. Your job is specifically to just focus on my voice. Stay with me. Use your imagination. If your mind wanders during this time, bring it back to the breath. Your journey will only be as vivid and as real for you as you stay with it. Okay, so let's take a deep breath in through the nose. Let it go with a sigh. You're dropping down now, dropping into your body, out of your head, down into your heart. Deep breath in. Hold it in the heart space for just a moment. Let it go. Feeling that pressure build, feeling that relief washing over you, feeling your heart start to beat faster. Now you begin to feel the air around your skin, the hair growing on your head, the clothing on top of you, the surface beneath your physical body. Pay very close attention to your surroundings. What noises do you hear? What does it smell like in the room that you're in? Become very present in this here and now moment. Deep breath in. And a big sigh this time. Feeling yourself come fully into your body and your heart and preparing to go on a journey. At this time, we call upon the spirits in the east, the element of air, the spirit, the domain of the eagle and the condor. We invite you in and activate you now. We call upon the spirits in the south, the element of fire, the heart, the domain of the serpent and the wolf. We call you in and activate you now. We call upon the spirits in the west, the element of earth, the body, the domain of the jaguar and the bear. We call you in and activate you now. We call upon the spirits in the north, the element of water, the mind, the domain of the hummingbird and the buffalo. We call you in and activate you now. We call upon Yang, the divine masculine, Shiwa, grounding, stabilizing, protective, the domain of Wachuma, the grandfather. We activate you now. We call upon Yin, the divine feminine, ferocious, savage, life-giving, and creative, Shakti, the domain of ayahuasca, the grandmother. We activate you now. We call upon Source, totality, all that is, the Great Spirit. We invite you in. We thank you. At this time, we call upon our angels, guides, loved ones, ancestors, star family, ascended masters. Please clear our energy of any and all thought forms, emotions, entities, energies, AI programs, false matrix illusions, frequencies of any kind that do not belong to us and are not serving us for our highest good. Please transmute these energies and send them back to the source. Thank you. At this time, we call upon our higher selves, our golden light body, our inner being. We embody you and welcome you in now. And lastly, we call upon the spirit of the medicine. Whichever spirit medicine called out to you or stuck out to you, call them forth now by name. See their image in your mind's eye. Thank them for their guidance, their willingness to work with us. We're ready to come find them. This ceremony is now open, and I'd like you to take a really deep breath in through the nose. Hold it in your heart, and what you're doing here is creating a pressure, feeling a pressure building within you, and then release all of that with a sigh. Now you begin to hear an ancient spirit off in the distance calling out to you. It's coming from outside the home that you're in. And I want you to use your third eye and your inner vision. And I want you to see yourself lifting up, rising up out of your physical body, and then standing upright in the room that you're in. You can now see the entire room from all sides. And you look around at the ceiling, at the floor, and then back down at your physical body. Whenever you're ready, we're going to say goodbye to the physical world and take a deep breath in through your nose. And as you exhale, I want you to see yourself walking out of the front door of your home, out into a cool, dark, starry night. As you walk into the wooded area, you notice a large forest off to the left. This forest is calling to you. Maybe you see nature spirits, fairies, something glowing from within this forest. Whenever you're ready, go into this forest of trees now. As you enter this forest, you continue to breathe deeply, and you come to an opening in the middle of this forest where you notice a very large, ancient tree. Some of you have been here before, but if this is your first time in a journey, introduce yourself to this tree. Put your hand on its ancient roots. It's much wider and much taller than any other tree in the woods, as much as you can see. Feel the ancient primordial energy pulsing through the roots of this tree. And as you approach, I want you to notice a very large, dark opening forming in the side of this tree. And you see it getting wider and taller until you notice that a passageway is formed in the side of this very ancient, primordial, wise tree. Now something is calling you inward. The ancient spirit is ready for you, and you hear their call. So whenever you're ready, take a deep breath in. And as you exhale out of the mouth, go into the passageway in the tree. Now, as you enter the darkness, you immediately discover a spiral staircase with what seems like no end as you look down into the darkness. Whenever you're ready, begin to descend downward. Down the spiral staircase you go, traveling deeper and deeper, winding, twisting, and spiraling downward, going deeper and deeper, breathing very deep through the nose. And every exhale is very slow exhale out of the mouth, taking you deeper and deeper into the lower world. You begin to see flickering lights down ahead as you travel deeper, nearing the bottom. Continue to breathe in through the nose, and out of your mouth release any tension, fear, doubt, hesitation, just traveling deeper and deeper. The warm ambient flickering light becomes brighter as you near the bottom. As you reach the bottom of the staircase, you emerge into a dimly lit, hollowed-out tree space. Right in front of you is a set of double doors with torches on either side. These doors are made of solid wood and iron. They're ancient and mysterious, made out of the wood of the tree that you exist within right now. Place your hands on these ancient doors. Whenever you're ready, take a deep breath in and go into the doors, opening them, hearing them creak open and shutting behind you as you find yourself in a large ceremony space deep underground with ancestors, indigenous people, spirit guides all gathered in a circle. Join them. Who is appearing to you? Who is there to greet you? At this time, we call in our lower world guide. This can come in many forms, but it usually comes in the form of an animal spirit. Call them forth now. See your guide. Whichever animal came to mind first is the one. This guide will be with you for the duration of this journey today. They're there to protect you. If this is the first time working with this guide or meeting with them, introduce yourself, create a connection with them. And if this is not the first time, hug them, embrace them. Take a moment to connect energetically, show gratitude, send them love. And if you trust your lower world animal guide, say out loud, I trust you. It's time to say goodbye to the lower world and journey deeper. So whenever you're ready, take a deep breath in, sending that breath all the way down into your toes, into your fingertips. And as you exhale, you notice your animal guide picking up speed and walking through the double doors from whence you came. Follow them. You notice the torches on either side. Grab one of those torches off of the wall and carry it with you as you notice your animal guide begin to climb the spiral staircase, ascending upward, and follow them closely. Do not fall behind. Your animal guide leads you to the top of this ancient staircase, and you're holding your torch closely, lighting your way. And your animal guide leads you out of the opening in this tree, but you are not where you were when you came in. It is nighttime. You can barely see except for the light emanating off of the torch, but you notice your animal guide begin to move forward. Follow them. Your animal guide begins to lead you through a forest. You can barely see, but you feel bushes and twigs thrashing your legs as you make your way on your journey, following this animal spirit. The animal guide leads you to a great opening on the other side of this forest, and you notice you're in a large ancient civilization. In the center of this civilization is a large building. Maybe it's a pyramid, maybe it's a temple. Follow your animal guide toward this large building. As you approach, your animal guide leads you up a set of steps that lead into this structure, and you hear the ancient call of this spirit once more, beckoning you toward them. Whenever you're ready, follow your guide into this structure, into this building. Upon entering, you see a being standing in the middle of 13 torches. This being is your plant spirit medicine teacher and guide. See them. What do they look like? What do they feel like to you? Notice them turn to you and welcome you into their sacred space. Approach this plant medicine spirit with respect and honor and gratitude, and offer them your torch in exchange for their messages. They have a message for you. Let this medicine spirit take you somewhere. Watch them as they light all 13 torches around you. Remember to breathe deeply, and I'll call you back when it's time. Taptanai koro ustu unoy akni marakna atumu. Tumu maika toma saprom no oy akmi marakna. Trapa ama uhunoy ahakna maara ustu noy akna. Tapara atumo oyayakna marakamo tunu. Ustu noy unu noy akmi arakna. Stay with your guide and your teacher. We ask for permission to do energy work on you. My healers are doing energy work. Please open your energy to receive if you give us permission. If you begin to feel sensations in your body, in your hips, knees, pains popping up, pressure, tingling, breathe into those spaces and just surrender. Let the medicine do what it needs to do. Let us do our job. Receive and stay with this medicine spirit. Akamara ununoi arakna paroktu ustuna akni. Rakni amara akni marakna. Tumu uroktu ishtamalaya. Lali nimoro unoi amakanima. Rakni amarakna. Shtuya akni maraknu uroktui. Lakshmu uro unoknoi amaraki motorok ustoi nakna. Arakna. Torakna. Stinni araknu urokna. Yaya unoi akni ma ahakni mo uroktu. Stakni mo uraknama. Ukuknoi arakni atumo oro. Yemna yestana aroku ushtoya. Glinni no oyama akni arakna. It's time to say goodbye to this medicine spirit teacher. Allow whatever's happening now to continue. Let them know you'll be back. You notice that your animal guide stands at the entryway to this structure that you're standing in. Give one last goodbye and embrace to your medicine spirit teacher. And follow your animal guide out of this building, down the steps, following them closely through this ancient civilization, back into the forest, feeling the bushes and twigs thrashing against your legs, the soil beneath your feet, or the dirt, or the sand. Your animal guide leads you to this ancient, tall tree. You both enter into the darkness. But it's time to say goodbye to your animal guide. Show them love, give them gratitude and thanks, embrace them, and know that you'll see them again. As you notice your animal guide begin to walk down the spiral staircase back into the lower world, you notice on the right-hand side of you is an elevator. Whenever you're ready, take a deep breath in. As you exhale slowly, go to the elevator. Press the up button, and as the doors open, step inside. Feeling safe, contained, connected, allowing this wisdom and these codes to drop in and to connect deeper in as you take another deep breath in through the nose. This time, the elevator begins to rise, ascending upward as you exhale, feeling your vibration rise up, 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 up. As you continue to breathe normally, these elevator doors open and you step out into a cool, dark, starry night into the forested area next to the building that you're in. Walk back through the forest, feeling the temperature, feeling the earth beneath your feet. Walk through your yard or your property, back into the front door, down the hallway, into the room that you're in. And I want you to see your physical body. And you're going to take one more deep breath in with me. Hold it. And as you hold your breath, I want you to see yourself sitting down comfortably, resting and nestling yourself back into your physical body, and release with a sigh. Now, begin to wiggle your toes and fingers. Come back into your body fully. You can also shake your hands, tap your legs. This will pull you back and densify you. Come into the present moment with us. There's some messages in the chat from Krista, who's our energetic alchemist. Please feel free to look at that. There's some messages that came through for some of you. Take a little bit of time to drink some water and come back into the space. Some of you may never have gone on a shamanic journey before. Others have done this so many times you knew exactly what was going to happen, or at least you thought you did. So I'd love to hear from you all. We're going to let Christina sleep soundly. She needs the rest. Doesn't she look so peaceful? Okay, so thank you all for being here with me tonight. And before we go, and before we announce the winner and talk about the prize, I want to hear from you a little bit. So please tell me in the chat what your animal was, because there's a specific reason why that animal showed up. Who was your animal guide? And also, what was your experience? Who was your medicine teacher? Who was your plant spirit medicine teacher and guide? And what messages did they have for you? Oh, the wolf. That is one of my main spirit animals. So I love it. Was it a specific color? Gray. Love it. Love it. And who was your medicine teacher, Cindy? Who was the one you chose?
It was Anti-Lotus.
Lovely. Beautiful. Was there anything that happened or that you saw or that she told you?
Um, she said release like a lot and then remember who I am.
Remember. Love it. That was
Yeah.
her. Beautiful. Brittany says, Black Panther. Okay, so every single time we do these, a Black Panther will show up every single time. And the Black Panther is mostly related to ayahuasca, but ayahuasca's son slash daughter, Sassafras, is also related to the Black Panther. So, Brittany, that's a beautiful. Oh, I love that, and that sacred brother energy that you need. Brittany, feel free to share any messages or anything else that comes through as well. That's beautiful. Thank you, Black Panther, for showing up. Um, Wakanda Forever. So she was Shelley says she was a dragonfly. Oh, I love that. I actually saw the dragonfly earlier. I was wondering who it came through for. I saw the panther. That's who I was following, was the jaguar or the panther. And I also saw the dragonfly. Um, she said, I am not alone anymore. I hope you lock that in. Um, Becca says, Uncle Sass. I love that Uncle Sass was showing up in an eagle. Wow, how amazing. The eagle's another beautiful expression of shamanic energy. Hummingbird for Kim. Uncle Sass. Wow, Uncle Sass decided to make an appearance tonight. I am safe to be me. Ah, beautiful, you all. And if you all feel like sharing, please do. Some of you, oh, Patty says Black Panther. Of course, don't. I want you to notice, you all, especially my medicine alchemists in here, how the Black Panther will show up for more than one of them too. And how come it's never a giraffe? Okay, it sometimes is, but I want you to notice some of these animals. Why do you think the panther and the jaguar is part of the Peruvian medicine wheel? Certain animals, jaguars and black panthers, actually eat ayahuasca vine. They eat it to clear their system. They do it once a year. So you'll have to understand nature is so connected that it can't not connect in this way. Oh, um, electric blue outline and eyes. I love that. That's how I see her. Um, uh, or that's how I've often seen the Black Panther, Mama Cacao and Blue Lotus together. Love that, and I love that they worked together. That's how they do for me with me as well. It's like Lotus takes the head and Mama takes the heart, and it's like they're doing surgery and they want to work together. Beautiful. Thank you all so much for sharing. So, lastly, before we go, I am going to share my screen one more time. I know for some of you it's like 9 o'clock. So I thank you for being patient and for going on this journey with me. Well, that's obviously not going to work. So, Drew, do we have the names that we can draw from? I'd like to do that on here.
Yes, I put them all into a little spinny thing so
Oh,
we
awesome.
can.
Well, let's go ahead and do that. And I want all of you to know that I am, excuse me, in thanking you for showing up for the call and witnessing all of this and being a part of it. I'm offering 15% off of all services that we offer: retreats, virtual services, one to one sessions, courses, all of it is 15% off. This code is 15 off, and we're going to put that in the chat. And it's only available for the next 24 hours. Okay, so after 24 hours, it will expire. So it is just for you all for being on this call. And Drew, have we spun the wheel?
Let's spin the wheel. Let's
Okay,
see.
let's spin the
Yeah.
wheel. Who wins the oh, and we get to oh, cool. This is cute. Okay, so we're going to spin this one more time. I didn't know you were going to put medicine alchemists in the list.
Gotcha.
Okay. Also, you have to be awake to win this one. Okay, this feels better to me. Christina has enough bottles of microdose. Okay, and also I think she's still in the astral. I think her spirit was anti-lotus. Okay, so Ben won, or Benjamin. So Ben, if we are applauding you because this is actually really incredible. We don't offer these as private standalone products. So what I would like is to get Ben's email address. I think we have it, but let's reach out and set up a call. And thank you for being here. And does anyone have any questions for me? Because I'm going to open the space right now. I know some of you are like, I want to eat. I know you want to eat and get grounded, but any questions before we go for me, since you have me here? Any questions at all? Ben says, thank you. You're very welcome. Thank you for being here.
Chris, I have a question.
Yes, Cindy.
So this is like all new to me for the microdosing
Yeah.
and all that. And I just actually finished a book called Earth Magic
Mm,
by so that was really good.
yeah.
So feeling like called and led down this path, like a lot of I was pulled to a drum and a rattle, so like I just need to know where to go from here.
So, when you say go from here, are you wanting like a book recommendation or here's what I'm going to recommend, okay? Um, we offer trainings here, but you need to be in the space with other people. I have something called the Ascended Collective, which is um, it's a community where we do shamanic medicine alchemist calls like this once a month, where you can come and bring your drum and rattle and send healing and also receive healing. It's like healing socials that we did in Shiwamurti, okay?
Okay.
And um, it's $38 a month, $3 for the first month. There's an Ascended CEO call. There's micro courses that I release every month. There's Ascended astrology updates, and there's also like a feed where you can put your process and can stay connected with other people. My advice to you is I could tell you a book, but if you don't get in the space with other healers and just start being in the space and going on more shamanic journeys, you're being called into shamanism. And I do not care if you train with me. I would love it if you ended up working with me in some way. I do
Yeah.
not care. I want you to know that you are being called to that. And that's one of the reasons we connected so much in Bali was
Hmm.
because we have a very similar energy, which is Shiwamurti's fine, but it's missing something and it's missing the remembrance that we have the drum,
Right.
the rattle, the plant, the touching of the earth. There's certain aspects that are missing there. And I think that's coming online for you because it's part of your healer abilities. Not
Okay.
everyone has shamanic codes in them. Some of them are priestesses, some of them are thought leaders. The shaman or the shamanic healer archetype is very specific. And someone who loves music, animals, very sensitive, like loves nature. Um, these
That's
are,
me.
again, some indicators that we are more pulled in that direction when our healer abilities come online. So I highly recommend getting in the space with us more. I
Okay.
also offer shamanic training. I have a program called I Am the Medicine that is 4 levels. So there's level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. It's a 21-month program, but you could just take level 1, which is 3 months, which is all the basics of shamanism, holding space, how to run a retreat, but also shamanic drumming, drumming circles, that sort of thing. Please know these things are available to you.
Okay. Very
Yeah,
cool.
and that at some point you will be called to actually do it. But if you can get in the space with us where you're hearing me call the directions in a lot, you're hearing the drum, you're hearing how I use the rattle, you won't have to figure those things out with spirit in the middle of the woods one day.
Right.
Okay. You can just say, let me try it his way and then make it my own as I go.
Right.
Yeah,
I think
that's
right now I'm
my
being
mission.
pulled more towards the microdosing. Like
Yeah.
I've got to get more open and get those blockages. As Krista said, I got to get belief in myself. I
Yeah.
mean, I know I have gifts, but I just got to accept that and bring it in and open
And
it up.
and a lot of times it's just as simple as a neural pathway that keeps leading to the belief that you're not actually talented like them, you're not actually gifted like them, you're not. There's neural pathways that are born in those experiences. So actually going in and like a train track, redirecting the train track, that's a huge deal. You don't have to say affirmations every day for 60 days, you know?
Yeah.
But I also want you to know microdosing and medicine work, it will make you work. It's not peaceful. It's just you will be going through something
Right.
during that time. Even the time before the retreat, after the retreat, during the microdosing, every day someone at the grocery store bumps into you, that's going to be a healing opportunity now. It's not just, say excuse me. It's not
Yeah.
that way anymore. It's an opportunity for you to respond differently. You're more aware of your responses now. You're more aware of the negative thoughts than ever before. So
Mhm.
a lot of times microdosing is like a charcoal mask. It can make pimples come to the surface.
Yeah.
So I'm not here
Yeah.
to tell you it's a magic cure-all and that's it. It actually says, here's how you heal yourself and are you going to do it? And not
Yeah.
everyone's actually ready for that.
Yeah. I feel like I am because
You are for
I,
sure. For
yeah.
sure. Yeah. And our microdosing blends contain another medicine. That's why they're called microdose. So they all lean in a different direction. So some of them are, if you're really trying to work through a lot of heart walls, resentment, relationship issues, there's one specifically for that. And if you're on the right protocol, using the daily dose diary, and not missing days, you know how we get. If we don't have something keeping us on track, oh, I took my microdose last week. Why am I not getting results? While I went to the gym 2 years ago, why am I not getting results? There's in our time space reality, there are um, rules, and one of those is consistency does end up equaling results in a lot of ways. And consistency doesn't have to mean every day, it could mean that I'm microdosing twice a week for a year. I'm microdosing on this protocol, very structured at first. And by the time I get to month 3 and month 4, I'm taking it once or twice a week when it calls to me. I'm a little bit more fluid in it, right? Because it's an organic experience. These microdosing blends are not vitamin B capsules. So,
Yeah.
also, there's a process. When you meet with us, we're going to be teaching you how to hold the medicine against your heart in the morning, how to speak to it, call in the medicine before you take it, where other microdosing companies will just sell it to you and
Mhm.
don't care how you treat it as long as you buy it. These medicines were grown in a lab by my mentor, encapsulated by him, sent to me, and embottled by me, and then given to you. Two hands have touched it. Well, Drew, three hands have touched it by the time it gets to you. Okay. It's all been handled in a specific way, unless you count UPS guy and that sort of thing. But generally, it's very much we know where the medicine's coming from and we know how to guide you into it so that you get results. There's going to be a lot of people out there, microdosing coaches, shamans, medicine healers. They want you to get addicted to constantly healing yourself with medicine. They don't even really know it, but they're like me. I come from a corporate environment where if the customer's not coming back, you're not doing something right.
Yeah.
In this work, the customer can come back, but they should come back over and over and eventually become a healer, not just continue. You know what I mean? Now I've healed and I'm ready to step up into something and then leave you all together and be a colleague of yours. That's the point of this work. Okay. So, and I feel you very called into that in microdosing. I think everyone in the world should be microdosing psilocybin and drinking cacao in the morning. Everyone. If you all were drinking cacao instead of your coffee, you would still get stimulated and energized, but you wouldn't be in fight or flight. You would be in self love when you went to work. There's simple things. And then you'll have the people that say things like, I don't need medicine. I'm a galactic princess. I'm from Arcturus and I live on the top of Mount Shasta and I don't need plant medicine. I can go there without it. And I want you to tell those people you can also not eat ever again and just stare into the sun and replenish all of your cells. So we're going to take the path of least resistance here and we're going to work with what nature has to offer us because there are beings, Arcturians and Andromedans, that are breatharian. They live off of oxygen and the light from the solar system that they're in. That's it. And we are going to get there, but right now it's really important that we work with what we have and in such a sacred way because some of you shamans, even your shamanic abilities will just start coming on because you're working with a medicine that's so connected to this realm. So, any other questions before we go? So, what I would like for you all to do after this is stay connected to that medicine spirit, do some more research, call them into your meditation. I would also like you to go eat after this, take a shower, ground your energy. I brought you all back pretty quickly because of the time. And when I do that, some of you all aren't fully in your body yet, or something hasn't fully processed that was actually coming through during the journey. So pay attention to your dreams tonight. Set an intention to keep working with that spirit, however long it wants to work with you. And then let me know. Brittany says, when's your podcast coming out? Brittany, can you tell me I know you sent that to me privately, so I hope it's okay that I just announced it in front of everybody. But can you tell me what you mean by that when you say your podcast coming out? Becca says, thank you. Oh, yes, we love you. We love being of service to all of you. The only job we need you to do. Oh, Brittany says, I think you need a podcast. Well, Brittany, Drew is about to send you a link. Missed a message from Patty. Did I? Oh, Patty says, I would like your input about what came through my activation session. Would it be best to book a private call with you? Patty, if there's anything you'd like to share here that you feel comfortable sharing, I can give you some input. But definitely that's what I'm here for. Otherwise, if you all need to go deeper with me, oh, that's okay, Brittany. I have a podcast called Ascend the Matrix. Ready for you, ready to go. Thank you, Drew. I didn't always have a Drew. You're very welcome. And Patty, if there's, oh, I think Patty, yeah, she's still on here. If there's anything you'd like to share here, I'll stay on here for a couple more minutes. But again, reach out privately if you would like to go deeper with that or actually move that energy or process it. Thank you all so much for joining. You all are free to go. I love you all. Actually, let's close out the ceremony. I'm so sorry. We do this regardless if you all are present, but because it's a smaller group, I'd like you to be present when I do this. So we're going to take a deep breath in through the nose. Let it go with a sigh. Thank you to our angels, guides, loved ones, star family, ancestors, ascended masters, to our higher self, to the source of all that is. Thank you to the nature spirits, to the plant spirits who showed up for us today. We honor you with respect and gratitude and love. Thank you to the spirits of the land that we're standing on right now, the indigenous people that may have died for us to stand here today. We honor all of the shamans and witches and oracles and priestesses and priests that came before us. We activate this new timeline that we're stepping into all together as a group, and any messages that need to come through for us that haven't already come through will come through with grace and ease and drop in divine timing. And so it is. Aho, Matakwiasan. You all have a beautiful evening, and thank you all so much for trusting in me. And now you know where to find me, and we are here to answer any questions. So I'm going to stay on just in case someone has something to put in the chat. But once Krista, Drew, and Nina stay, but once everyone else is gone, I will hop off of here as well. So you all have a wonderful night, and I love you all so much. Nina, you can go. You can go. Christina Shrivelza. Welcome back, journeyers. Check the bed. Make sure you haven't, made a mess. To ask my question, can I come off of mute? Yes, Patty.
Okay, hi.
Hi,
Thank you so
Patty.
much for giving me time and space and doing this activation. I
Of
mean, you
course.
guys, incredibly powerful. All of you
Oh,
working together, it was like, whoa, okay, here we go.
love
We're
it.
in it.
Thank you for that.
And
Thank
I
you.
felt the field open and all of it. So thank you so much.
You're very
Um,
welcome.
what came up for me has been something that Spirit is just bringing to my awareness in a very deep way. And I've sat with plant medicines before, specifically psilocybin. And in one of those journeys, they were showing me this portal to the underworld, into the shadow realm, and this understanding that it's part of this path.
Are you still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. I feel your energy. I just wanted to make sure.
Thank you. And so I feel, especially at night, a lot of this energy is very, very amplified. And I do psychic work and channeling full time and like plant medicine retreats for people, and it's the most profound work of my life. And specifically, last night, like objects in my room moving. And as I tune into that, it is these aspects, these beings from the shadow realm. And it's not this like negative, demonic presence, it's just powerful beings.
Right, right.
And with this activation, it was like connecting into this temple with these plant medicine spirits, specifically cacao and blue lotus. And it was like we all held hands,
Mm.
like shot this blue purple light up, and my physical body like was shaking, and all this stuff was coming up, just like letting out this primal scream,
Yeah,
and my eyes fluttering to the back of my head.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm just trying to understand because I feel like I'm so close to remembering.
Well, I hear you, and we don't know what we've forgotten until we remember it. And I know that sometimes we can get a whiff of it and we can smell that there's something there. And I want you to know it's not fully ready to drop in because you don't have energetic space for it yet. And you're going through symptoms of Kundalini rising. So I want you to do, I'm sure you know what that is, but I want you to do a little bit of research. I went through this, and this is a good thing. Many people feel it as bliss, but it can be really hard on the system, but it can also cause really strange things to happen to the body. Eyes rolling in the back of the head and shaking and tremoring and jerks and muscle spasms and chakra openings and intense anxiety too. So there's many when the energy systems get started, you're not lost. You are opening up to something really big. And once the Kundalini has cleared a little bit more out and you've expanded a little bit more, that remembrance is going to fully drop in. It's like you don't have space for it to fall through the crack yet. And so what you're wanting to remember is your soul's mission and your purpose and how to do that in a new way in this lifetime. And that's something that you're also, sometimes we remember things as we're doing it. I didn't remember everything aspect of my shamanic work until the drum was already in my hand, until my hands were already over someone. So don't be a perfectionist either. Start somewhere, which you have, but also know that you're not, I understand, you're not doing anything wrong that is keeping you from remembering something. You have been told by others and by spirit that there are certain aspects of yourself that you need to embody and that you are going to remember that are going to come online. And because your human knows about that, it's already anticipating it rather than just letting it happen organically, which it's going to do regardless if you knew about it or not. So you are currently in the process right now of remembering, and right now your body's remembering. And your brain is going, but what's this grand message I'm supposed to know? No, right now, it's like you're turning into a transformer. They're showing like when those, I've never even seen Transformers, you all, but becoming a transformer. And that is this new shape you're coming into is literally happening in your physical body. And that can be very scary and very confusing, but you're not doing anything. There's not something you could be doing right now that would make that happen faster. It would cause psychosis or spiritual PTSD if we were to try to make that happen faster. I hope it's safe to bring up sex, but just like sexual energy or intimacy with a partner, we don't want to rush that, and we do want to. Spirit, your higher self is giving you a little bit of foreplay, and you're not seeing it that way because it just feels like a whirlwind and a huge. But just know you're actually being prepared to hold that which you're trying to remember without it causing any permanent issues, if that makes sense.
Okay. It does.
And what you're going through is temporary, because if I can go through Kundalini awakening for a whole year and a half, not sleep for 21 days, have over 30 different ascension symptoms for 4 years. I don't even feel 90% of them now, and I thought they would be there for the rest of my life. I actually believed I was never going to sleep again. I believed I was never going to sleep again, so I needed to kill myself. The mind can do really strange things, but also Archangel Michael didn't give me a handbook on Kundalini awakening. So I want you to know you're not alone, and that I've been through that, and that several people in these groups have been through it. I have had so many ascension and awakening coaching sessions with people who've been going through Kundalini rising, people who are between 42 and 44 years old and reading their astrology chart, and they're going through Uranus opposition, which causes Kundalini rising. And so I've dealt with it in many ways, whether it was triggered spontaneously. It isn't just Kundalini, because Kundalini's been rising for you for a long time. What you're having right now is a psychic activation. There's something very psychic happening for you. So if you start to get like head pressure, feeling like a tight band is around your head, feeling like the center of your forehead is either going to explode or cave in, or the top of your head, there's always someone pouring fairy dust on it, or there's like electrical buzzing and sensations. You need to breathe into that. And instead of being like, why is this happening? Say, ooh, the upgrade is happening. I'm taking the upgrade right now. That is actually what's happening.
Okay.
But the human can get really scared because there's no medicine, there's no over-the-counter medicine for your ascension symptoms. There's energy work and healing that can soften it, but sometimes I would use crystals and plant medicine, and it would make them worse because it was actually accelerating what was happening. So it was like, do I speed it up and make it more painful now, but it's less painful later? Or do I rip the Band-Aid off instantly, or do I do it hair by hair? You have to do it in the moment. And actually, the reason Lotus and Cacao came in so strongly is because you are building a beautiful bridge right now between your heart space, which has always been very open. You came in with a very open heart, and you have a very open heart chakra. Up here is where you were shut down. And now it can feel like the opposite. Your boundaries are getting really clear, and your psychic visions are more powerful than ever because something is recalibrating. But there's a beautiful bridge and a beautiful connection that's happening between the heart and the third eye, because us mystics, we've all been to psychics that told us things that we didn't want to hear, and negative things about our future that weren't going to come true, but that they were seeing in our field. And it's because their heart wasn't open, and they weren't receiving what was right for your highest good. They were just receiving what was available in your thought field. So you having this opening psychically is also coming with a heart opening. And again, that's part of the energetic bandwidth that we need you to have, so this remembrance can fully come in, because this remembrance and this remembering of who you are, this archetype you're about to become or embodying, represents seeing through the illusions, but also seeing through the illusions through the eyes of love. That's part of your code and your medicine. Is you don't need to learn more light language or Reiki. You need to get really right with the fact that you came here to see the saint and the sinner as the same thing. You came here on this planet to help clients who were abused and help clients who were abusers, who have repented, if you will. Okay? That's why the shadow realm is coming up, because we need you to not be afraid of it, judge it, and know that we need you to go in there to retrieve people so you can bring them to the light. And you've got to have a really open heart, and you've got to see through the illusions, because there's all this false light in the world. There's all these things that pretend to be the Jesus Christ that aren't actually, or pretend to be the Arcturian Council but aren't actually. So we need you really clear on both of these, and that is what's happening. Like when you all ask me, what do I need to do? I'm like, it is happening now. That's why you're asking the question, because it's already happening. But I understand, I can give you some feedback and you should definitely be working with Lotus and Cacao every day, and monoatomic gold, Patty, Ormus, I almost called it Jeju, Kjiwa, whichever one, Ormus, that will reduce the amount of ascension symptoms. And also, we want you to be mindful of heavy metals, aluminum, metal, silverware, metal pots and pans, but also doing a detox and getting rid of heavy metals out of the body. Celery juice, cilantro. Cilantro is really, really good for detoxifying heavy metals. Because some of what you're experiencing, some of our ascension symptoms are actually our spirit body coming into the body, but there's all these toxins. And so we're actually feeling the spirit body pushing the toxins out, which is causing jerks and spasms and breakouts and these weird exhaustion periods. So is that Juno? My baby. So, Patty, are there any other questions before we go?
No, that was incredible. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you. I appreciate your time, and you also know where to find us.
Thank you so, so much.
You're so welcome, and thank you for doing the work and for being a light worker. I mean, for being a human, but also thank you for coming here at this time, doing the work, remembering. You've obviously remembered something to do the kind of work that you're doing with clients. So thank you for stepping into that and saying yes to it and being brave to do that in this world today. I just want you to know we see you.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. You have a great rest of your night. Sending so much love and grounding to you.